Hi everyone, I'm so glad to have you here. If you're new to my channel, very welcome. Today's video, I would love to talk about how to study when you have absolutely zero motivation. The reason I'm making this video is because right now I'm on vacation in beautiful Mazatlan, Mexico. Hey, give it a like if you're from Mexico. And while my family is at the pool downstairs, I'm in the hotel room because I had to get some work done. So I thought it would be a perfect setting to give you some of my tips on how I get motivated to get things accomplished, even though when I absolutely don't want to. So first thing first is it's important to clear your mind of all the thoughts. A lot of the times I don't want to start doing things is because I have all of this like million ideas running through my mind all at the same time, and I just want to sit down and just like ponder them. And one thing I found that works very, very well is to write them down, either using pen and paper, your computer. If you're not into writing things down, you can always use a recorder, like a voice recorder on your phone, and just talk through them. You're gonna look pretty silly doing that, but it really, really helps. Once you clear your thoughts, give yourself a 10-minute, I call it a pre-fun break. So have fun for 10 minutes of do whatever you want to do. So for example, tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna go watch a YouTube video for 10 minutes and then I'm gonna start studying. It helps, it conditions your brain, because we as humans love to sort of procrastinate, and that gives your brain, okay, I'm gonna do nothing for 10 minutes. That's great. And then you're gonna go study. So I usually put an alarm on my phone for 10 minutes and go do whatever I want, play a computer game, watch a YouTube video, and then once that alarm goes off, I go study. And that helps a lot to sort of transition from doing nothing to start studying. One thing that I found a lot of the times, it's not the motivation even that I'm lacking, it's more of the mental resistance that I have, is because I know the task or the subject I have to study for is going to be really, really hard. And if you guys are the same way, I don't know if everyone's the same way or is it just me. I'm sure there are other people are the same, that have that like mental block, mental resistance of starting new things because you just know they're gonna be hard. One thing I found to overcome this is to start with the easiest thing of the entire task. So here's what I mean by this. At university, I had to take organic chemistry. It was one of the harder classes, not because of the material, but because it had a lot of components. It had like online component, lab component, seminar component, and lecture component. And when I come home and had to study for it, I was like, oh my God, I was dreading it because I knew it's gonna be really hard because it had like all of these things I had to study. So one thing I found was the easiest for that class, it was to read a textbook. So I would start reading the textbook first. Once I read it, took the notes, I had the foundation that I could build upon. And it was much easier than to tackle that organic chemistry homework. And it works for other classes the same way. So for example, if you're an English major and have a lot of papers to write, and every time you're like, oh my God, it has to be so long, I have to find all of these references, it's gonna be really, really hard. Start by just writing an outline of that paper. Start writing your thoughts about it. Like, what do you want to write in that paper? It doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be grammatically correct, no references, just organize your thoughts. And it's also important to concentrate on one subject at a time when you're studying, because the other thing too is when I was at university, some semesters I had to take 5 or 6 classes. I would come home and I had all of these different classes like maths and physics and geology, biology and English, and I just didn't know where to begin. I was like, oh my God, I'll start in maths, I'll do it for 20 minutes, and then jumped into geology, jumped into English, and at the end, like nothing would get done. 4 hours later, I would be like, well, okay, the time has passed and I've accomplished 0, and of course my motivation would go down. One way to overcome that is to concentrate on one thing. I would always start with my easiest subject that was easiest for me. So for example, geology classes were the easiest that I understood like the fastest. So I would start with my geology homework and then progressively get to the harder subjects. Now with that, if everything else fails that I said before and you're like, oh, I still don't have any motivation, what do I do now? I found a couple ways. One way is go outside, give yourself a much larger break, an hour to 2 hours. Go for a walk, go run, go exercise, do yoga, whatever you're into it physically. Breathing the fresh air and just walking is a great exercise, great for your sort of motivation. Another thing, I love herbal tea. I don't do coffee, but if you do coffee, that could be coffee for you. I love herbal tea, chamomile tea or mint tea. So I would pour myself a cup of tea and read a motivational book. Not the entire book, you can start with one chapter. I found that some motivational books, it's not about even what they teaching you. For example, right now I'm reading this Happy Pocket Full of Money book by David Cameron. It was a gift to my husband by someone, and I sort of snatched it from him and thought I'd give it a read. And clearly this book is about making money, but the sub-message in that book is about getting things done and getting things accomplished. It's not even money making, it's more of if you want something, start doing it. And a lot of motivational books are the same way, and I find that if I read a chapter, it motivates me to get up my butt and go do things, because a lot of the times they share a story of people how they accomplished something, and you read it and you're like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And finally, self-conviction is a very, very powerful thing. So if you're sitting on your butt and you're like, I have no motivation, it's gonna be really hard, I don't want to study, pump your brain up, think or talk to yourself and say, yes, I can do it, I am the best at it, I'm gonna rock the subject. So if it's math, I'm gonna be like the best at math, so I'm gonna go and do all of these problems right now, and once it's done, I can go and have fun. And so with that, I'm gonna go down to that pool. And hopefully you like this video. If you do, give it a like, subscribe. I really wish we can get to 5,000 subscribers in the next month or so. And also, if you would love to see the beautiful Mazatlan, Mexico, if you would like to see pictures, find me on Instagram at ShyLamaGirl. I will leave a link below, and hopefully you can see some of the pictures. Oh, another thing I forgot, I will link all the books that I found that are motivational down below, so check them out. And with that, I'm gonna leave you, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.